They say that secrets can never stay buried forever. After many years, Ayo returned to a quiet province to search for his father. All he knew was that his father was a hero during the Japanese occupation. But the truth he is about to uncover didn't come from the hands of the enemy, it came from a hand that reached out from the middle of the forest, a hand pleading for one last chance. Thank you for joining us here at the Tale Trails. We truly appreciate you spending your time with us today. Before we dive into our story, we'd love to know where you are tuning in from. Drop your location in the comments or chat. It's always amazing to see how far our trails reach. A coffee and some noodles, please, Ayo ordered from the server of a small eatery in a town. You're new here, aren't you? A vacationer, the server asked while serving the food he had ordered. He simply nodded and replied with a smile to the inquisitive woman. He ate his food in silence, thinking about how he would begin his search for the person he came here for. He was met with a hug from Nana Bolen. Nana Bolen's family and her father are close friends who treat each other like real family. How are you, Ayo? You've changed so much. You were just a child the last time I saw you, but now you are a sturdy and handsome man just like your father, she said. They entered the old woman's house while talking about his life in Manila. They spoke of their relatives, how they were doing and what their fates had been. Rest for a while, Ayo. Here is your room, the trip is exhausting. I will just call you when it's time to eat, Nana Bolen said. A lot of food was prepared by Nana Bolen: grilled milkfish, pinakbet, pork adobo, rice cakes, and fruits. They ate together with Nana Bolen's child. Eat as much as you want, Ayo, I prepared this for you, Nana Bolen began. Even if we aren't blood relatives of your father, we owe him our lives. We probably wouldn't be here today if not for him, she continued. May I know what my father's life was like here back then? I was just a small child when he disappeared, Ayo asked. All right, I will tell you the story, Nana Bolen replied. During the Japanese occupation, our lives were difficult, she began. We had nothing to eat, and we couldn't work or move around the streets because we were careful not to catch the eye of the Japanese. Women were being taken back then. Your father served as our hero in this place. Rosalino, or Lino, was a sturdy man. His face bore traces of mixed Spanish and Chinese heritage. Even though his appearance was different, his character was Filipino through and through. He was only visiting his sick uncle, his mother's brother, who lived in a large stone house, but when the Japanese invaded, he could no longer leave. Only telegrams or letters connected him to your mother in Manila. He knew how to farm, so he planted vegetables and rice to store food, as well as to help those of us who were suffering. Violence was everywhere then. Japanese soldiers would go around to extort people or seize women. Whenever the Japanese patrolled, the women would go to Lino's stone house to hide. While resting under a mango tree after planting, he saw a smoking warplane. It was diving downward. Something was thrown from it, and a parachute opened until it crashed into the rice field. Lino went to the spot where the person fell. The man was unconscious, so Lino immediately brought him to their house. He saw the uniform of the man he helped, a Japanese soldier. He didn't think twice, he cleaned the wounds, wiped the dirt from the body, and dressed him. He also prepared soup and food for him. When the soldier woke up, he was surprised by the care Lino gave him. Lino fed him, dressed him, treated his wounds, and massaged his sprains. Even though the soldier's race was the one making Filipinos suffer, Lino still repaid them with kindness. The Japanese soldiers stayed for several nights. Though they spoke different languages, they understood each other through signs and hand gestures. News became frequent that the Japanese were patrolling. The women slowly entered Lino's house to hide in the basement. They made sure not to make any noise because they knew a Japanese soldier was in that home. Before he was fully recovered, the Japanese soldier decided to return to camp. He wrote a message that was sent to their headquarters. The following day, a vehicle carrying Japanese soldiers arrived at Lino's house. The soldier he helped finally said goodbye and boarded the vehicle. Poverty continued. The rain had not fallen, and the crops in the rice fields were drying up. People could not work. The Japanese were not the only enemies of the Filipinos then, but also fellow Filipinos who stole livestock and food. People no longer ate 3 or even 2 times a day, it was barely once. Many fell ill because there was no medicine to buy. If there was, it was incredibly expensive. After 2 weeks, 4 Japanese soldiers went to Lino's house. He was invited to their camp. He went along without asking what wrong he had committed. Those who knew him felt dread. They feared he was being punished for helping a wounded Japanese. Some feared he would never return and would be imprisoned for good. Confused and worried about his fate, Lino followed the soldier ahead of him. He was led into a room and told to wait. Moments later, 2 soldiers entered the room. One of them was the soldier he had helped. He spoke in his language, which was translated into Tagalog by another soldier. "I am Captain Yukishiro. I am grateful for the help you gave me. I will never forget what you did," the soldier said. "It was nothing, I could not deny help, especially to someone in need," Lino replied. The captain spoke again as he handed over a gold military badge with Japanese characters. "You can use this to pass through the gate. You can come and go in this area as long as you show the badge. This is a symbol of our friendship. You may take food, medicine, or whatever you need free of charge," he said. Captain Yukishiro also told Lino to just ask for whatever was needed. Lino did not hesitate to mention the fear felt by his townspeople, especially the children and women. "Do not worry about the women in your area. I will order that no one shall disturb, hurt, or take them. Your place will be peaceful," he added. After talking, they bid each other farewell. The soldier accompanied Lino to get rice, bread, and medicine before he was escorted home. This was great news for his village. It was a huge help for those in need, and their lives became peaceful. Upon returning home, Lino shared what he and his new Japanese friend had discussed. He also distributed the medicine and food he got from the camp. Everyone was very happy. For days, weeks, and months, the Japanese did not visit to extort or arrest anyone. If soldiers were seen in the area, they were only passing through to the next town. Lino continued to collect rations from the camp. Sometimes he and Captain Yukishiro would have tea and talk about culture, or play chess or checkers. Lino continued to share the food and medicine with those in need in their area. Lino and his village were happy because their place was quiet. One day while walking, he saw his fellow villagers Narsing, Manolito, Tonying, and Alberto drinking palm wine. They invited him to drink, and he accepted. "Friend Lino, take us with you the next time you go to the camp so we can get more rations," Tonying said. Lino replied that he could not take them because the Japanese might think he was taking advantage of the kindness shown to him. He told them to let him be the one to collect them since everyone got a share anyway. "You don't understand, friend Lino. My family is large, what you give me isn't enough. It would be better if there were more of us so there would be more to divide," Tonying insisted. Lino replied that he could not grant the request. He said the peace in the area was enough for them to work properly and live with their families. He then stood up and said he was going home. The next day, Lino went to the camp again. He spoke with Aling Elena, Nana Bolen's mother, and gave her a list of medicines needed for the barrio. Lino first went to the town to send a letter to his wife with some money and then headed to the camp. From that day on, they never saw Lino again. The villagers worried not because of the food or medicine, but for Lino's life. Some of them went to the camp to inquire. According to the guard, Lino had left the camp that day carrying rations. They were deeply worried that something bad had happened to him. According to some wood gatherers back then, they allegedly saw Lino with men whose faces were covered. That was the only news we heard since your father disappeared, Nana Bolen concluded. Ayo listened in silence, taking in every detail of the narrative. The last letter Papa sent to Mama said he was going to have us move here to live with him. His Japanese friend was supposed to go to Manila, and we were to come back here with him. He said this place was quiet and peaceful, so it was better for us to leave Manila, Ayo said. It's a shame it never happened because we heard news that he was already missing. Ayo could not sleep that night. He was thinking about where to find his father. Was he still alive? Was it true he left the camp, or did the Japanese finish him off? Who were the men with him? Many questions filled his mind. The next morning, Ayo went around the province early. He looked for the person who last saw his father, hoping they remembered something. But he failed because, according to the witness, the four men's faces were covered. He couldn't help Lino then because the men were holding swords and he was alone. But the witness confirmed one thing, the men with Lino were not Japanese, but fellow Filipinos. He stopped at a small restaurant to eat lunch. It was crowded because the place was popular. Even though Ayo failed to get information about his father, he did not lose hope. I heard Lino's son is here, looking for his father, a whispering voice said from the next table. Yes, he won't find him because we already buried him, the other replied. Ayo's eyes widened, and he immediately approached the three men. I am Lino's son. Where is my father? He said calmly. But the three just stared at him, completely shocked. He repeated the question, but they hesitated to answer, until he grabbed one by the collar and pinned him against the wall. Speak. Where is my father or I'll bury you too? What did you do to him? Two policemen happened to pass by and broke them up. Ayo explained what he had heard, so the three old men were invited to the police station. Tell us what happened on the day Rosalino disappeared. You won't leave this precinct until you tell the truth, the officer ordered. Let's just tell it, Manuel, Narsing, for the sake of our consciences, Alberto answered. Manuelito looked at the ceiling, remembering the events, and began to speak. Unbeknownst to Lino, the group of friends had an evil plan for him. The plan was to intercept Lino as he returned to the village from the camp. They were going to take the rations for their own families. They blocked him and took him to a secluded area. Lino did not fight back and quietly gave them everything. As they were about to leave, for some unknown reason, Tonying suddenly punched Lino 3 times. They tried to stop him until Tonying's face mask fell off, causing him to beat Lino even more because he had been recognized. Lino collapsed and stopped moving. According to Alberto, he had no pulse, so they decided to bury him in the middle of the woods. Can you show us the place where you buried him? The policeman asked. Yes, but I want you to know first that we didn't want to hurt Lino. Friend Tonying planned it all, Alberto said. We only joined him because he threatened to report us to the Japanese as spies. Even though we didn't want to, we went with him, Narsing continued. Ayo didn't know how to feel when he saw his father's bones after they were exhumed. His father, who only wanted to help, was repaid with greed. Forgive us for what we did, Ayo. Since that night, our consciences have not given us peace. We always remember him, Alberto said to the silent Ayo. Ayo just stared at the body bag where his father's remains were placed. Ayo went back to the police station to face Tonying, the one who planned the crime. He found him giving a statement. His words were no longer clear, sounding as if he were short of breath and stuttering. It was dark when Tonying and the others went home that night so no one would see the rations they were carrying. He didn't regret what he did because he saw his 5 children eating happily. That night, the rain was relentless, making Tonying worry that the soil at the burial site might soften. The next day, he took Narsingh back to the woods. We were shocked, we didn't know what was happening, he continued. Lino's hand came out of the ground. It was raised as if asking for help. That was when we realized Alberto was wrong. He wasn't dead yet. We buried him alive. But when he woke up, he couldn't manage to get out, so only his hand broke through the grave, Tonying said through tears. Whenever it rains, I see his hands when I close my eyes. He doesn't let us rest. Ayo seethed with rage and planned to attack the old man, but when he saw his condition, half of his face was twisted and his body seemed stiff, he could not help but feel compassion in his heart. The old man who planned the evil was already suffering. He had been in that state for 10 years, unable to walk or stand because of a stroke. What is your plan, Ayo? Will you pursue the case? The officer asked. No. It is enough for my peace of mind that their consciences beat them and that I see the one who planned it all suffering. It is also enough for the people here to know that those men were the reason he died, he concluded. Because news has wings, the truth spread through the village. It wasn't just their consciences haunting them, but also the eyes of the people who knew what they had done. Those who knew Lino, led by Nanabolen, decided to give him a proper burial. They held a mass at the church and prayed, remembering the kindness Lino had shown. They laid his bones to rest alongside his relatives who had already passed. Thank you, Nanabolen, I am returning to Manila, Ayo said as he bid her family goodbye. Take care, Ayo. I am happy there is finally an answer as to why your father disappeared, even though what happened to him was painful. You are very kind for not punishing those responsible. Their conscience will be the one to judge them while they live. Nanabolen hugged Ayo tightly before he finally left. If it were you, would you have let them off the hook because they were already suffering, or would you have pushed for them to go to jail? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Thank you for wandering down this trail with us today. If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to ensure you never miss a new legend. Do you have a tale that needs to be told? Send your stories to our Facebook page or via email. We would be honored to bring your journey to light for the rest of the world.